what's going on, guys? This is our first episode of LinkedUp Podcast. I'm so excited that we could join you guys today. I'm one of your hosts, Nova.
I'm Stephanie.
And I'm A. Charles.
And man, we're excited to bring you guys so much, creativity, so much inspiration, so much of everything, really, from multiple artists who we've been meeting with, multiple producers, multiple authors, entrepreneurs. So, Zell, you want to go ahead and share some of the things that we have coming this season?
Yeah, look forward to hearing from a lot of local artists on the come up, artists that are probably soon to be your favorite artists in the game. And we also, are going to be, talking to multiple other people as far as like painters, authors, photographers, et cetera, et cetera. So like, this is a show that is all about for the creatives and for what's going on in our community. We just want to just shine the light on the people that are, just getting out the mud every day and just trying to make their dreams come true. So we just wanted to have this show be a platform for their voices, really.
Yeah, I totally agree with Zell. Like, some of the artists I hadn't even heard of, and they're like, we actually have an awesome episode with two producers, and that one is so fucking fire because I had never heard of any of their stuff, and I was on Apple Music right after the episode and right on Instagram following them for more content. So make sure you follow LinkedUp Podcast because it's not fair for us to keep all this amazing content to ourselves. Right. We're introducing this platform for you guys so other people can be introduced to not only new content, but the artists behind the content. Oftentimes, you'll hear a song and you might not be super into it, and then you kind of get to know the artist that made that creation, and then you have so much respect for them, and you're just like, okay, so now I kind of understand where this music is coming from and the foundation in which it was created. So that's also a very important part of this podcast.
Absolutely. And like you said, Stephanie, this is a platform for up-and-coming artists. It's a platform from up-and-coming entrepreneurs. We're all about pouring into not just our community, but pouring into those who seem to be the overlooked in a sense, and giving you the platform to, promote you. So can you give them the email, by the way, if there's at the end of this episode, if someone wants to go ahead and submit some information over to us?
Yes. So if you're an artist or you know an artist, our email is linkeduppodcast@gmail.com. It is spelled LNKED, podcast@gmail.com. Submit your inquiries. We would love to get some more artists out there. We are actually, another cool thing about this podcast is we are not doing this over Zoom on purpose. So right now we are in the midst of a crazy pandemic. So everybody's just you're social distancing. I mean, social distancing is important. Sure. Stay at home, wash your hands. If you're not feeling well, make sure you get tested because there are a ton of free testing sites for COVID all around the country, the United States. But we're doing this over Zoom because we actually live in 3 different cities. Yep. So I live in Atlanta. Where are you guys from? Tell them a little bit about yourselves.
Well, I'm A. Charles, and I live in D.C. now, but I'm originally from Stone Mountain, Georgia, just like Fitz. Just a quick little story. Me and Fitz went to school together, University of West Georgia. Go Wolves.
Yeah,
go. Me and her actually did college radio back in the last decade. And we were on this show called The Power Hour. It was a political show, and that's how we met, really. And Nova, I met him through my good friend Derek back in 2014. He was in Carrollton for a summer, and we just clicked. And a few months ago, I have my own podcast called Things to Keep in Mind, and I was interviewing Nova for that. And he was like, hey, man, let me talk to you about this other idea I got. And he was like, honestly, I've been plotting on it since 2014. And I was like, what? Wow, that's crazy. And he was like, yo, you know, it's I want to do it like through like, you know what I'm saying, like, you know, some type of FaceTime type, you know, situation. And like, you know what I'm saying, it'll be multi like media platform type thing. And, you know, we'll, you know what I'm saying, just be like interviewing creatives and entrepreneurs and, you know, all that, basically everything we just told you before. And I was like, yo, that's dope. And he was like, yo, do you know some other people? And I was like, yes. And like, I immediately hit up Stephanie, and then also Trilla K, which is also our DJ that we're going to be having on here doing our mixes. Was it every other Friday or something like that, right? Yeah. So, yeah, and you know they were down from jump, so the rest is history, honestly.
Yeah.
So just to kind of piggyback off of, or Zell, I call him Zell, but I guess his name is on Instagram is
well,
Charles, but
you can call me either one. Like, you know, Zell's my nickname, but you know what I'm saying, I guess like cause I'm a poet. So I do poetry. I'm a podcaster. You know, I guess I'm also like a musician. So like, yeah, I do it all. So like my stage name is A. Charles. But you know, most people call me Zell. So
yeah. So yeah, when I met Zell, I was doing social media for the Power Hour at the University of West Georgia. I'm a PR major. A lot of people call me Stephanie or Fitz. I didn't change it on the Zoom name, but who cares? You can just find me on Instagram at Fitzy. But yeah, I also have been producing a podcast as well. It's called Murdered by Millennials, and Murdered by Millennials takes the platform of defending millennials against our social and cultural, I guess, ways that we do things, and how it's against the tradition of how things have been running in America or any other country from our parents. I guess you could say the quote unquote baby boomers. Yeah. But that's just a little bit about me. I do social media for this podcast. I do a lot of like video editing, cutting, come up with a lot of those ideas for our Instagram. Follow us, LinkedUp Podcast.
Oh yeah, definitely.
We're gonna get
YouTube as well.
Yes, and we're gonna find a majority of your updates. I think that's really about it. Yeah, I went to West Georgia, stayed in the west side of Atlanta for a while. Then I moved back to the east side of Atlanta, where all the artists are and where I really like to be right now. So it's dope. Live in Decatur, and I love it. So let's pass it on to Nova. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, man, I come from humble beginnings, man. You know, I've traveled around. I mean, I'm originally from New York, but you know, I've moved around quite a bit to the South, from Charlotte to Atlanta for a little bit to LA. Right now, I'm back in Alabama temporarily. But you know, I mean, I come from a musical background, from radio to, I mean, television to, I mean, you know, that it's just a diverse background. But I guess the whole like thought process behind this show, like Zell was talking about, was just to try to bring people who are like-minded in the sense of creativity, in the sense of who worked in media together, where we can have a platform to, you know, put on other people and still work together towards one common goal. And yeah, I mean, you know, I'm just happy that we finally can get things up and running, and that, you know, it seems like this season especially is going to be, I mean, it's going to be filled with so many things for you guys. Like, we're really excited for you guys to be a part of this. I feel like, you know, it's something that we're creating history here, and you're getting to witness it as it's happening. So.
Yeah. So, I mean, you're right. It's so nice to like produce something like this with other people who are in media and like get it and are like they want to like put in the work, and they're all like creative. I mean, I think we said like sometimes our meetings are like, once our last meeting like 4 hours long.
That long. I didn't feel like it though.
It was like 4.5 hours. Yeah.
Yeah. I was
But
like,
honestly,
okay, guys, I think this is it. And then like another hour and a half would go by. So that's
yeah. Yeah, but that's the thing though, sometimes, even though it's like it didn't really feel like 4 hours, honestly, because we were all so focused on like, okay, let's see how we can get this up and running. And like you said, that's the beauty of it all.
Yes, and that's why working with fellow content creators is so awesome, and why we are so excited to bring you this show. So,
as you guys know, it's a lot going on in our country right now. I would say it's what I would call a great awakening, another great awakening, and I think it's for me, I think it's beautiful because we're having more conversations about what's been going on to our people for so many years. And honestly, I think if it wasn't for this pandemic, this wouldn't be happening. It honestly took a pandemic for people to wake up because we don't have anything to distract us anymore. Right. You know what I'm saying? Like, people are alone. Some people are with their families, and you're kind of forced to realize like, yo, like, what do I need to work on? You know what I'm saying? To help me take myself to like the next level. And I feel like a lot of people are questioning some of the things they grew up like just, thinking, you know what I'm saying? Especially like as not being like a Black person, you know what I'm saying? Like they're starting to realize like their privilege and what that means, and they're asking themselves a lot of these questions, and I think it's for me, like, just going out, because a few weeks ago I went out to a protest for Black Lives Matter, and I'm not gonna lie to you, like, I was a little anxious, you know what I'm saying, a little hesitant, and that's only because like I saw a lot of the stuff going on out there, and I just want to make this disclaimer: I don't fault anyone for, like, the frustration they feel, even though that might not be the way I would like handle it. But you know what I'm saying, I totally understand it. You know what I'm saying. But I'm not gonna lie, seeing that kind of gives me, anxiety a little bit. So I was like, and then like big crowds right now too. I'm not really, you know what I'm saying, like trying to do all that. But I was like, yo, this is for a good cause. My sister like wanted to go, and then my friends wanted to go, so I was like, shoot, let me go. And let me tell you, man, it was one of the best experiences, and I'm so happy I went, because just to be a part of that, I think this is a crucial, pivotal time in our history. We're gonna look back on this. Our grandkids are gonna ask us about that, like, grandpa, like, how was that period of time? And like, it's gonna be dope to say, yeah, I went to like a protest. I talked about these important issues with, what I'm saying, people that didn't look like me, what I'm saying, and people that look like me. So yeah, and it was just amazing just to see. Of course I knew we were going to be there, our people was going to be there, but just to see all the white people that were there, like, going hard for us. And that's what really just made it feel different from any other time. And, it was a lot of other, I saw Indian people, I saw Hispanic people, I saw just everybody was out there with their signs, and they brought out their whole families. It was really beautiful. So I just want to get you guys' take, because I know you guys went to different protests as well. So Stephanie, go ahead and how was your protest experience?
Yeah, so I'm actually really glad that you appointed me for like the next point, because you mentioned something about privilege. And for that, I would kind of like to speak on, because I grew up in the South, and I am biracial. My mom is white and my dad is Black. So I actually, in a sense, have a little bit of a privilege myself. Yes, I'm still Black. Yes, I'm still a woman. However, a lot of the time in America, if you are a lighter skinned African American, you just don't really face a lot of the strife that darker skinned Americans face. Like, there have been times when like just the whole, when it first started coming out that Black people were being stopped, you know, for your regular traffic incident and they being shot and killed, I was like, really? I was like, that doesn't make any sense because I'm Black and I've been stopped so many times. And I haven't ever experienced that. Like sometimes I would be let go with a warning. One time some guy and I were driving home from the bar and he was in my car. He was drunk. He got a DUI and I was actually let go. Like they waited for me to get somebody to drive my car back to my apartment. And with all of this stuff going on, I could have easily been, you know, taken into custody too but didn't technically do anything wrong because I wasn't driving. Mm-hmm. Or a lot of the time they just look at you different. And it's really like unfortunate. I just didn't realize it. I just kind of was like kind of walking around in like a cloud of, you know, like whatever, like I'm great. And, you know, it's really not that bad to be Black in America. And, you know, I didn't really grow up with the Black side of my family. Yeah. I grew up with the white side of my family, and it was never like race was never talked about, not because I didn't exist, but it's kind of like, hey, Merry Christmas. Oh, by the way, you're Black. You know, it's just kind of like they never like said that because I mean, I'm a part of the family and it just it wasn't like a thing. And, you know, I was just always told like to be educated, do whatever the hell you wanted. You're a woman, so it'll be harder, but they never were like, you're Black, so it'll be harder. Mm-hmm. So I guess that's like kind of the privilege that I've personally experienced, but I am not, you know, of course, so I went to a protest, and this isn't to say that I'm not unaware of what's happening, right? You know, because a lot of the time if people do have privilege, you just kind of ignore the entire problem. Yeah. And that, you know, kind of goes for everybody. I don't want to specifically name white people, just because I guess I'm like, I don't want it to make it like a Black versus white thing. Yeah, I guess. Yeah. I mean, I guess it kind of is, but I don't know. I just like really want to refrain from like saying like just pointing the finger. So whoever it is out there that's experiencing any kind of privilege and that's just kind of, you know, walking around with this like the rose-colored glasses on, and it could be anybody. Yeah. Candace Owens, what the fuck is wrong with you? I mean, girl. Anyway, she is tripping. Yeah. She and Stacey Dash, like those are besties, right?
They brainwashed them.
Right. Anyway, so that's another topic, but so obviously I'm not ignorant to the problem. I know what Black people are facing in America. Yeah. I went to a protest, of course, and like Zell said, like it was really, really awesome to see just a lot of people from different backgrounds besides Black people like on our side. Mm-hmm. It felt so nice. It was just kind of like a lot of the time I think we kind of just feel very like alone and isolated and not understood in a lot of our problems and issues, and to see other people like recognize it and then want to fight for it when it doesn't directly benefit them, but it benefits the people that they love and care about, whether it's, you know, a family member, a good friend, a partner, you know, supporting Black businesses because, you know, it's important, recognizing Black people in spaces of, you know, professionalism, and just letting us be our authentic selves and letting us celebrate our culture. It was such a great thing to see. And, you know, you're right, like being there in that energy and just saying, like, being a part of history is so amazing and fascinating. And, you know, the generations that are coming up after us, they are also going to be a part of a history, whether we eradicate racism or not. there's still going to be some social justice movement that needs to be fought for, that will always be a part of history. So, we got this piece right here with the Black Lives Matter movement, and telling people to wash their hands. Sorry, I have to interject humor into as you'll see throughout the podcast, I'm going to interject humor into some serious moments. But they're going to be a part of history as well. So who knows, what the generation after Gen Z is going to be fighting for. And it's, I can't, if I'm still alive, I can't wait to see it. And I hope, our Juneteenth playlist really highlights the Black artists that have come through and fought through some things in their pain to make something creative and beautiful. And I think, that's where art comes from, whether it be pain or an experience. And that's really the whole point of this podcast and the whole point of the movement and everything in general. So I hope that kind of made sense, and that's my piece.
No, it definitely did. Well said.
Y'all thinking about that?
Yeah.
That was a lot. Sorry.
Oh no, that's cool. No, Nova. How was your protest experience?
Well, like Stephanie said, like you said as well, my protest experience was at first when I got there, I was a little bit I don't know how to feel about it. I didn't know what to expect. I know from during the time, with the looting and all the rest of the stuff going on, which I personally am not mad at. Not saying I would go about it that way, but I'm not mad at it. But at the end of the day, it's just I was just man, I don't know what the climate's going to be like. But at the same time, me being silent is me saying something as well. So I kind of had to swallow that pill and just be like, you know what, I'm just going to go. And I went. And I mean, it was just like you said, it was crazy to see so many more white people out there supporting the movement. It was eye-opening. The march, I mean, for the most part, it was peaceful. Of course, later on, after the official march, things got a little bit, out of hand. But I guess just to kind of go back a little bit in my history, like you, Zell, I'm my family is from 2 different countries. So it's my dad's American, but then my mom is from the Caribbean. And most of my family on my mom's side lives in Europe, lives in Canada, lives in, just different places. So my mom, when she came to this country, she always would tell me, she didn't understand what racism was all about.
Yeah, they never experienced it.
They don't experience it.
Yeah.
So, she said it wasn't until she got to the South that, she realized okay, this is ridiculous. People are upset because of the color of skin or because of how they feel a prejudice towards you. So, growing up, I feel I definitely was introduced to, seeing a lot of or understanding a lot of it at a younger age compared to, I guess, other homes who are Caribbean who choose to turn a blind eye, to what's going on. But yeah, just the whole experience, man, the whole protest was just it was just definitely empowering. I went out there because I do photography as well. So I got some great pictures. This was for the books. This is history right now, like Stephanie said. So, it was just, just seeing people passionately speaking to the police and passionately speaking to city council members were out there and trying to really get change within our country. It's a step forward, and we see, we're trying to hold them accountable for what they think that they can just get off for. And of course, tension is rising right now, but I feel the protest is putting a spotlight on the injustice in our system, and it's continuing to, force them to have some type of accountability and not just, move about however they want to. So it definitely was a good experience. And I would say if anybody's listening who hasn't been to a protest yet, you kind of have to, just kind of swallow that. I understand anxiety. I understand, it may not be something comfortable, but at least experience it. If you're going to sit in the car and watch, do that too, just be there so you can see exactly what we're fighting for. And I feel it'll give you a better understanding of the movement. And like Stephanie said as well, with the Juneteenth playlist, it's definitely commemorating all of our Black artists who have been, since, this has been going on, for, Yeah,
for
since.
400
like the beginning
years.
of the era.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So like
it's
this
going on
playlist
for-
is almost like, to me, I look at it like it's like the museum of like just the archives of like showing through history, you know, even to today, from all the way back to what, like the early 50s you have, and I mean it's been going on since before then, but it's just given a, you know, just a time period that these are the same issues that we keep bringing up, and you know it's time for a change. We're tired of it. Generation Z is tired of it. We're all tired of it. We're sick of it. So
and the thing is too, like even though like us millennials, we're tired of it, but what's the generation after us?
Gen Z.
Gen Z.
I don't know.
Yo, they not putting up with it, yo. They
Yeah,
like what?
yeah, they're not.
They'll like go and get shot by like rubber bullets and then like
Yeah.
bounce
No,
back.
they
and,
are
like,
they are
They're
valid.
you're like, whoa.
Yeah.
And you know why I think that is? I think it's because they grew up in technology. They grew up in like I got it right here, like right now. Like I don't have to wait. So they like, we're not waiting for this. We get this now.
Well, yeah, and it's
I'm
not,
like,
not
yo,
only,
I respect it, you know?
yeah, not only like that feeling of I have to have this right now,
Yeah.
but because they grew up with that technology, they grew up with it right in front of their face.
Yeah.
So I think, you know, previous generations were like, well, it's not that big of a deal. I've only heard like one microaggression. I've only heard of like one incident of somebody getting shot by the police, and why would you do that anyway? So then they just kind of like forget about it because it's not always there, but because now people are able to record things instantly, upload that online and share it with millions of people. Growing up with that, and like you're constantly seeing that all the time, and you're just like, again,
and that's what I'm saying. It's a form of trauma for us to watch that over and over and over and over. And then what gets me, and I don't mean to go into the far lane, but I don't think it is like, how can you sit there, watch a video of a man have, you know, his life taken from him for, you know, his knee was on his neck, and he dies on camera, and they just handle it like it's nothing. And then you hear people saying, oh, well, he was a criminal, or he was a known this, or he had done that. What does that have to do with him being killed unjustly?
Exactly. He's a human being.
Right. So are we going to persecute you for whatever crimes that you've done that just haven't been caught yet? You know, it's like
we gotta have humanity. You know what I'm saying? At the end of the day, like that's your fellow, regardless of his race, ethnicity, any of that. Yeah. He's a fellow human being, and his life was being taken away. You know what I'm saying? If they were just doing that, and see, that's the thing. The problem I have with the cops, man. Like, I feel like if you're a police officer, you need to be trained to de-escalate a situation, not escalate it. Right. All they do is most of them, all the time, all they do is escalate stuff. Right. First of all, they don't know how to talk to people. You know what I'm saying? It's just like, I'm just like, yo, how are y'all getting, what's going on in the training process? Like,
I mean, at the end of the day, to be honest, I mean, they're scared. You know, like,
yeah,
I mean,
they fear us.
Of course. Yeah. I mean, you go to the police academy not knowing what neighborhood you're going to be assigned to, and then you get into a neighborhood that you really didn't want to be in, and you already have your heightened, you know, thoughts about how you feel about certain races or certain areas, and so you're constantly in a state of panic, or, you know, just stressing out. Just like how we're stressed, it's the same thing on their end, I feel like, but they're more on the forceful side. We're not listening. This is what we got to do. And don't get me wrong, there are a few, like, I know a few black officers at least who are, you know what I mean, like, they do their job. They're there to de-escalate situation where they can, and you know what I mean, I feel like they handle the situation accordingly. But I mean, the majority, obviously, it's like, even if it's just one bad apple out of the cops, it makes all of them look bad.
It's just, yeah, it's like the same analogy. Remember, like, when you were growing up in school and like one person do something, then y'all all got silent lunch.
Yep.
Man, you gotta take that.
Right.
You gotta take that L. Exactly. You know what I'm saying? That's life.
Exactly.
I mean, we ain't like it, but we all got punished. You feel me?
The police just really like all need to be on silent lunch. That is
no. They need to listen. They need to just acknowledge the problem and figure out how can we solve it going forward. Instead of just like, you know, quitting, throwing in the towel, getting mad. It's easy to get mad. It's easy to get defensive. Right. But it's smarter to be like, all right, I understand where you're coming from. Even though I might not like it, it is what it is. How can we move forward?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? That would be like the to me the more progressive way to do it.
Yeah.
But a lot of these cops, you know what I'm saying, they stuck in their ways, and like a lot of times they deal with a lot of just like trauma and like mental issues and all that.
Yeah.
I just think the way our screening process for police officers needs to be different. We just need that's why like the whole like defund the police. What do y'all think about that? Do y'all agree with that, or?
I'm just gonna say this. No. Like I'm just saying, like I can understand where they're coming from, because a lot of the funding is excessive, and it's like, okay, why is there so much money in this department? But I feel like when we say defund the police, I feel like we need to be more specific and not just say defund.
I agree.
Yeah, I agree.
Hear that word?
Because at the end of the day, we need people. We need police to protect us.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So we still need them. I just think we need to
reallocate the funding. Yeah,
the funding, and reconstruct the training process and all how we look at police.
Restructure the police is what
restructure the police exactly.
Yeah. Restructure the police, and we need to restructure the mindset of restructure the mindset of police, restructure the mindset of society and how they view people of color.
Yeah.
And that comes with restructuring the media, because that's where all of that comes from.
Yeah, it is.
And
media is powerful. They paint the narrative.
Like on the playlist, we put Neighbors by J. Cole.
Yeah.
And in that song, he's basically saying like, no matter how successful I am, no matter like who was listening to my music, as powerful as like the president, right?
Yeah.
You guys are always just gonna see me as a black man. Yep. And because when you look at the news, all you see is us getting arrested.
Yep.
And that's like the whole point of that song. And I mean, it's definitely worth a listen. And it's so true. So it's like,
and
really
not just
really like taking away that like implicit bias towards other people that are different from you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And not even just a black man. I feel like they still look at us as slaves, to be quite honest. And I feel like you said, that mentality has to change. You know what I'm saying? Like even us as black people, we have to. I remember Bob Marley said it best. We have to emancipate ourselves from mental slavery. Only you can free your mind.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? So it's like we're still, healing from years of trauma as a people.
Yeah.
And I think that's why we reached this boiling point. We're like, yo, enough is enough. It's like even in a pandemic, y'all can't let up on us. Like, what's going on? You know what I'm saying?
Turn up the heat in the pandemic. Yeah. Makes no sense.
Exactly, bro. But and I think also like people that aren't black have to realize the reason why we have this big problem with police also is because police were set up in this country as slave patrol. Mm-hmm. So you have to go back and do your history about like just looking at like our relationship with police from the beginning. They were set up to be against us. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? So that's why we have to reconstruct the whole system of policing in America. Yeah. Because like they look at us and they automatically see the enemy no matter what I'm doing.
Yeah.
I mean, just look at that whole Rashad Brooks situation that happened last Friday in Atlanta.
He did.
Like, homie just wanted to go home. Yeah. They should have just assisted that man home and let that man walk home. But instead, they want to arrest him for what?
Yeah. No, they didn't arrest him. They wanted to. They took his life.
Yeah.
Arrest would have been a lot better than the situation that he had to face. So.
Yeah. And so speaking of going back to slavery, if you guys, there is a show on Netflix. It's called Black as Fuck.
I watched it in Kenya. Yeah,
I watched it Kenya Bear show.
Yeah.
So it is a comedy and it's really, really funny. But each episode they break down, like what Black people are currently going through in America and the root cause of it. In every episode, it's because of slavery.
Because of slavery. Still because of slavery.
Yeah, and there's also a book that I came across in an article yesterday, and it's called Post-Traumatic Slave Syndrome, America's Legacy of Enduring Injury and Healing. Currently, I have not read it. It is currently in my Amazon cart.
That's an amazing title, by the way.
Yeah, so I'm going to send that over to you guys. And then I'm actually just going to go ahead and like post this on the Instagram as well, just so people kind of like have like a link to it. But it looks like a really interesting read. I'm really into psychology and like talking about trauma and like really understanding where a lot of our attitudes, beliefs, and behaviors come from. And a lot of it is from what we have been conditioned to think and be. And I think that would be a very interesting read. So I'll go ahead and link that in our Instagram story.
That's all that is important. Like, I feel like we have to do everything possible. Like, we have to protest. We have to, read, you know what I'm saying? Like, we have to, share information.
And not just that,
make posts, donate, you know what I'm saying?
Invest back into our communities. Invest back into our
make another Black Wall Street. You know what I'm saying?
Communities, man. Stop
this
nonsense.
We need to get more people of color, Black people of color, in politics, and we have to vote.
Yeah, for sure. Voting is important.
November, vote, register to vote. Do not say no do not let them tell you no if the machine isn't working.
Like in Georgia,
isn't working.
Yeah,
wait, sit there and wait until they fix it.
Yeah. Dedicate that day just in case if something goes wrong.
Take that whole day off if you can.
But seriously, like I just want to piggyback on, as far as investing back into our own selves, like, this platform is it's in a sense doing that for us. But, like if you know somebody in your own community, they don't even have to be in your own community, but just share the other Black businesses because a lot of times it's like, we know it's out there, but we just don't know who's selling what, who's doing what. So start supporting each other. Start seeing how I can, one person can help another person, network together, just open the doors, man, because we're pouring so much into the Versace's and all the rest of the they're like,
a lot of times they don't even mess with us.
They don't respect our culture. They don't
just
care about what we have to say. They don't care about any of that. So this is really the renaissance happening right now for us to start our own, to continue to build our own, pour into our own. And of course they'll see how that economic structure definitely shifts quickly.
Because we have the power, you know what I'm saying? We need to take back our power and reallocate our power back into ourselves.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Because like other communities do it. Yeah. Every other community does it.
That's what I'm saying.
We need to do it. We need to sustain our community.
And I'm not bashing anybody, but it's like they have the nerve to come to our communities taking our money, you know what I'm saying? Hair stores, I'm not going to call anybody out, but obviously it's self-explanatory. Like gas stations, I'm not going to call anybody out, but I'm just saying grocery stores. So, you know what I'm saying? Like it's time, y'all. It's time.
No, it is time. And at the end of the day, it's like, when you think about it, we've allowed that. You know what I'm saying? Not saying it's right or wrong, but we've allowed that.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, that's why I said we gotta take back our power. It's okay to make some stuff for ourselves.
Exactly.
Everybody else does it. We should do it too. Right. It's as simple as that. We gotta stop relying on the government because they don't care about us.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
Like Kanye West said, George Bush does not care about black.
Oh man, where that Kanye at? Kanye.
I know, where's Kanye? Now he's like
saint now.
Any last thoughts from you guys?
No, I think that's all I need to say.
All I want to say is just, it's time for us to start supporting our own communities. It's time for us to get out there, make our vote count, And it's time for us to stop this, because even, and I will say this, man, I may be a little bit touchy, but I feel like even within our own communities, like light skin, dark skin.
Yeah, we need to stop all that.
Like, stop that crap, man.
We need to protect our women too.
Yeah, we got, and yes, absolutely. It's time for us to start protecting our women, protecting each other, looking out for each other. Stop this seeing the next black man and just grill him. Like, why am I grilling you for? Like
that's another form of white supremacy.
I know. The enemy is there.
Stop calling me Hillary Banks.
Yeah. Wait, hold on.
I'm not Holly Berry. Looking alike. And no, I do not look like Tessa Mae Thompson. And my nickname on the street isn't "Hey light skin." Like, I like to go by Stephanie.
Dudes have said this to you?
Yeah. Oh my God. You have no idea. It's
I
crazy.
just want to say I'm sorry on behalf of.
It's okay. I mean, you don't like. I appreciate. I guess your like apology, but like you don't have to apologize for like anybody else's like ignorance or behavior. But that like that's a form of separation. I don't know how many times that I've been told that I'm not like there are microaggressions that we say to each other within the Black community, and one microaggression that is said towards biracial people that are Black and white is, well, you don't know nothing about that and you're not really Black. And it's like, yeah, I'm really Black actually. Like, I'm sorry, but I'm Black.
That's what I'm saying.
Stop doing that.
We have to heal. We have to
heal ourselves.
Yeah.
Invest in our communities. Make us a stronger power.
Right.
And in many ways besides business, politically, and like psychologically, and we have the numbers and we can do it.
Yeah.
No, for sure. And also on just to add on to that, we have to love and respect one another and understand and try our best to understand where each other are coming from.
Yeah.
And like just you know what I'm saying, just communicate better,
Right.
Yeah.
I think that's a beautiful thing about this whole period we're in right now. Like, people are talking more.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? And it's important to share your story. Keep on sharing your story. Keep on sharing your experiences. Mm-hmm. They do matter, just like Black lives.
Yeah. All right. So I don't really have anything else. I pretty much said what I gotta say. I think the rest should just be left up to you guys tuning in, just so you can really figure it out, because it's nothing that we can like really talk to you about. It's something that you have to see and have to experience and feel those vibes. So,
absolutely.
Well, speaking of vibes, we got the vibes on our Spotify page.
Yes.
With our playlist, our Juneteenth playlist. We just put it up on Friday. Is very, very, if I do say so myself, it's very good. Even though I curated it, and that's like really like I'm bigging myself up, but it's really dope. But please go check that out. Go follow us on our Spotify. LinkedUp was LinkedUp Artist Spotlight. Yeah. You can find us on there, and the link is in our Instagram bio as well. So definitely go check it out. Share it with your friends and family. Rock out to it.
Yes.
Indeed. Well, guys, thank you so much again for coming together to get this done. And yeah, you guys are in for a show. So stay tuned. More coming your way.
For sure. Until next time. I'm A.E. Charles.
I'm your boy Nova. And I'm your boy Nova. We'll catch y'all in the next episode.
See ya.